Hey everybody, Eric Spicer here from TheGamer, and I'm with Blue Queen Jade King. We're checking out Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Hi, Jade.
Let's get Navi heads.
Well, Nati Kamaye, I see you.
Oh, is that like Avatar language? They speak that in this.
I speak a little Navi. You
I
know
know
me.
what an Ikran is now.
Okay.
I
Where?
had sex with one with my hair.
Oh my god. It's not sex, so let's not start there.
You're like, whoa, back off. But no.
I'm a huge. I'm blue pilled, as you know.
I
And
really
proud
enjoyed the
proud of it.
second one. I don't think a lot of people at the gamer did, but I thought that was a great movie.
I will not respect the haters. Um, Look at you shooting a flower. Okay,
This
tell me
happened
about
a
this
lot.
game.
So, Eric, do you like Far Cry?
uh, I guess.
So this is Far Cry. It's like right. It's Far Cry Primal 2. That's probably,
Yeah,
but it's also an Avatar game. That's probably like,
and you've got assault rifles in
yeah,
there. You
and there's
fight
guns in it,
helicopters.
and you're killing people. Yeah, but yeah. Ugh, right, where do I start? I went down to Ubisoft's offices in Guildford for a few hours, and they pretty much stuck me in front of Avatar a few hours into the game and went, play it for 2 hours. And
Yeah.
that's precisely what I did. That's what you're watching here. It's this early footage is me kind of just getting my bearings, figuring out what this game is. So what I'm doing here is like hopping around like an idiot, shooting anything that moves, and then kind of like figuring out what I'm meant to be doing. But
Yeah.
I realized pretty quickly, okay, I've got my weapon wheels, I've got my bow. This is how I move. This is how I jump. I
You're
couldn't
in
figure
your
out where to
you're in your
go.
Jake Sully phase of your
Yeah,
Pandoran adventure. You're like a baby.
I
Don't
was
know what
role
to do.
playing. I was like, I've just become a Navi. I have to do this. I kill this goat in a minute. We keep watching.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that either.
I didn't mean to.
So you are. My understanding is that you are a native Navi that was raised by humans.
Yes, I was a female Navi in my playthrough. I didn't get to pick, but
Okay.
looking into some of the like dossiers and lore, it seems you were raised by the humans, and then after a couple of operations, as it were, you came to realize, oh, the humans are up to no good, and then you gradually start to side with the Navi, and it seems you're still a bit of an outsider at
Yeah.
this point in the narrative, but you're working your way up to be trusted. Like you haven't got your Ikran yet, which is like your mount in Avatar speak. And I only went to a few small tribes where people were talking, and there were some like, this wine is gross, and they were like, I didn't get a big grip of the narrative. It seems what Ubisoft really wanted me to do was just see how this game plays and let me loose in the world a little bit, because the
Yeah.
open world is pretty massive from what I could see.
Right. And we saw a little bit of the verticality there, the way you like zipped on top of this
Yeah.
big tree vine. Is there a lot of that? Does it feel like the forest is very dense?
Oh, it's you're right about the verticality, because the second you get an Ikran, you can go all the way up the flying mountains and like jump onto those and explore a lot. And there's a lot of like vines and platforming and so on.
Yeah.
But the part of the map they put me in, everything was already discovered, like all of the side activities and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it was kind of hard to tell what the moment to moment exploration would be in the finished game, because they, aside from outposts, which we'll see a bit later, they didn't
Yeah.
give me too much of a chance to discover it.
Okay. Yeah, because like I think when you say Far Cry, I don't think that's a bad fit for an Avatar game, but
No, I agree.
it still needs some very specific Avatar things, and we're seeing a bit of that here, like the way that you interact with nature and the
Yeah,
collecting and stuff like that, and just like the density of the map, because this is beautiful. It's very alien. It's
yeah.
very but I want to know if it's like if it really feels like a dense forest the way it does in the movies.
Yeah, because it feels like with previous Far Cry games, as pretty as those games were, all of like the wildlife and the parts of the world you'd stumble across were quite mechanical. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the area with crocodiles in it, and you've got to kill them. and this is the area of honey badgers. And if you kill them, you can craft
Ewa
stuff.
has
With
brought us
this,
calm.
I
I
had
will
like a
not
scanner,
pay.
and you are
How?
right in that
That discovers our
a lot of the wildlife and the plants and the animals I saw did feel more dense and more natural.
Uh-huh.
But whether they serve a purpose yet remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Especially if you're meant to
Is
be
it going to hurt?
like a pacifist, which I'm not because I kept
Ewa,
killing the
we
animals. But
enter your welcoming
this bit
arms.
here was like
At
an
one
initiation
all
ceremony of
things
sorts,
connected
with like a
through
couple
you.
of elders. I'm about to put my hair into
Guide
that
this
bug.
traveler, bring
Hell
them
yeah.
to the heart of the nest.
Do it.
I don't know what it
Do
was
it.
doing, but everyone was like, "Yeah, put your hair in that bug," and that's how I did, and everyone was really happy about it.
One thing I think that is gonna make Avatar such fertile ground for a game. It first of all, it's like the visual quality. It has such a distinct
Yeah, this
visual
game is
identity.
quite beautiful from
Yeah,
everything I saw.
but also it's like the earnesty of that world. Like so much of AAA falls into this ironic detachment where like nothing's that serious. Everybody's a quipster, and I think like Avatar is like serious business, you know.
Yeah, like
It's not joyless by any stretch, but it's like it's a real like modern epic, and I hope that this game sort of captures that tone too.
yeah, me too, because there wasn't a huge amount of like humor or levity in the dialogue I saw. Like it was
Uh-huh.
like we're gonna do this, we're gonna be serious, and one of the little plot elements I saw, I think someone's daughter was wanting to attack the humans because she felt like it was the right thing to do. And then when the father finds out, she is very much mad at you about it. She's like, I wanted to fight and now you're going to stop me? Like, it's not got that awkward, like, political satire that Far Cry tries to have.
Right.
It's being quite accurate and, like, I don't know, like affectionate adaptation, I suppose, because like the sound design, the visuals, and
Oh
the
yeah, you
language
can
the
totally
characters
tell.
use, it is
Yeah.
dead on. Like if you know Avatar, like they've really done their
I
homework.
hope so.
Yeah, the music I've heard so far is quite good. The score.
Yeah, the music is a perfect example, especially when you're flying or during this big set piece here where you're climbing up a mountain to like get your Ikran.
Yeah.
It's like it's similar when Sully gets it in the films. It's like, oh, you're gonna do it, and this is a really big step for you. And the game tries to make it feel like that.
Yeah, I love that that you get these sort of iconic Avatar moments, but that it's telling its own story too. I think that's really cool. So this is you working your way up the Hallelujah Mountains to
Well, they
claim
have a
your
name.
Ikran.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, this section took a bit too long, and sometimes the clambering is a bit more sophisticated than Far Cry. You can kind of Skyrim your way up a mountain, but that was something I slowly figured out the more I played, alongside like the sprint and so on. But I appreciate what they're trying to do. They're not just leaning all the way into gunplay and the stuff Far Cry does, like stealth and so on. Those things are there, but they're trying to make you feel Na'vi, which
Yeah.
is quite compelling.
And in that previous little section we watched where you freed that big bull animal, I should know the name of it, but you were
Yeah, shit,
fighting
I heard.
humans, and they were
They're
tiny little
tiny.
guys. Yeah.
You can. There's an outpost I raid later on, and I just punch him in the face. I make a point to go up to every human and just wail on them because
Yeah.
they're really small.
Does the gunplay and the action, does it feel fluid and kinetic? It looks a little stiff from what I've been watching.
It is. The weapons that feel the best are definitely the bows and the stuff like you'd expect a Na'vi to use. But even those don't quite have the impact or like I just nailed that headshot, got like a cool stealth kill that you'd see in like Far Cry and so on.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if that will change with time, or I just didn't get enough time with the combat. But especially with the one assault rifle I had, I was like, oh, this thing doesn't really aim down sights properly, and it feels a bit like clicky clacky and stuff like that. And it didn't help that the combat, I don't know if they'd done something to the build I was playing, but it was incredibly easy. Like even the big mechs went down in like 4 shots. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel like it should.
Okay.
Like it felt like those big mechs in the movies, at least, are quite like formidable opponents, even for like a
Right.
single Na'vi. But I was just blasting them like they were nothing. And it would have been cool to them to make a more sophisticated combat system for a franchise like this instead of it essentially just being a first-person shooter.
Act of trust.
Yeah, and especially because I know this is led by the Division team, right?
Yeah, it's massive primarily, and there's a few like every single big Ubisoft game. There's like 5 support studios like chipping in, which surprises me because I don't think Massive has made like a Far Cry adjacent game before.
No, but they definitely know their guns.
They do. Like the Division's guns feel real good. Like,
Yeah.
in my, as much as like generic a lot of that game is, like they do their guns well, which I don't know. Maybe there's a bigger variety of guns we'll see in the full game because I don't know the extent of like Navi weaponry if it goes beyond bows and arrows. But if anything, a game like this has the opportunity to introduce and experiment with those things.
Right. Okay, talk about the flying, because this looks awesome.
The fly feels real good. It's real simple. It's immediate. You can summon once you get your mount, you can summon it from anywhere. You press down on the D-pad and it's like, hop on your Igran. And you're very much incentivized to just fly as high as you want, go where you want. I didn't have anywhere to go, so I kept having to check the map, and I was trying to like skip through quests as quickly as possible because I only had a few hours. But it does feel really good. It feels quite weighty and nice to use. You can unlock different abilities for both your own traversal and the Ikran to do like Star Fox style parkour tricks and dogfighting and so on, which is cool. But also, you mentioned earlier about the world being dense and huge.
Yeah.
I do worry if that on the ground stuff will be somewhat less important when you're flying everywhere.
Right.
But it's hard to tell. I want to be able to customize my Ikran. There's a moment where you name it. I called mine Floof. You can't name it, but they give you like 15 names to choose from, and it seems those are spoken. So it's like, okay, there is an opportunity to like make your mark on this creature. But one thing I didn't like, which I think is quite a clumsy mechanic, with the Ikran and some wildlife, you have to like get them to trust you, which boils down to pressing a shoulder button and slowly approaching them. But you have to do it at a certain speed or they'll hit you and you have to restart. It's weirdly tedious. It would have just been easier to press a button or like do a quick time event instead of like, am I moving fast enough? Am I not? Because it makes you think you need to be stealthy, but that's not the case. It just felt like a weird mechanic.
Weird. Okay. And I can see what you're saying here about just like
look how easy they go down,
mountains.
right? Like
even the
shots,
helicopter, you just were like pop,
blasted. Like
yeah.
those things, yeah. And this is a Far Cry as hell.
Yeah. This is
like,
so this is like assaulting the compound, right? You're
yeah.
just trying to...
You have like 3 objectives, which just turn these things off. You press L1, you'll see a green spot on the map, and it's like, do it. You can see in the start on the objective, it's like it describes them like you're meant to find them yourself. But like modern Assassin's Creed games, they very much let you try and figure it out for yourself to begin with, and then they'll think you're a dumbass and just tell you what to do anyway. Which this is fun. Like the gunplay is fun, and there's still a unique freshness to being this giant blue alien who can just clean house. But yeah, I hope there's some variety.
Being in the human environments does give you that nice sense of scale where you're like as tall.
He's not
as
even moving. Yeah, I suppose it's not out yet, so work in progress. But
yeah. I guess the hard question is why do you think that Ubi isn't like, you went to this press event and we got all this footage and that's awesome, but this is the first time we've really even seen this game that comes out a month from now.
Yeah, that confused me too, because this game's been in the works for a good few years now, and talking at TheGamer, we were like, oh, they're going to show that Avatar game finally. I hope that's good. And then they showed like a big gameplay trailer, and it was like, yeah, it's coming out in December, whatever. And even this event, it was very low-key. It was just in a hands-on room in the Ubisoft offices, and I'm surprised they were this liberal with the amount of capture they allowed us to get. And are they just going to wait for this thing to come out and kick it under the rug? Because it is the game it is, which is no discredit. Like, as we said, Far Cry Avatar is a pretty cool combination, but it does
after
feel
the year
weird.
we've had.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. maybe people were expecting it to be more experimental or ambitious, because I remember playing the tie-in game that came out with the movie.
Sure.
That's not a great game, but it was pretty. That was a Ubisoft Montpellier joint. Like, I think that was directed by what's his name. Well, he
There's
got
actually
cancelled.
3 different versions of that game depending on what platform you played it on.
Yeah,
They're
because you could be
3
humans
completely different.
or Navi, and part of me was like, it would have been cool if this did that,
Mm.
but I don't know. Would that be more complicated? But yeah, I hope this doesn't die on its ass, because it does seem cool and fun from what I played, but not especially inspiring.
Yeah, I get that. I can totally see that. And it's like it's just a world you want to explore, you know? I
That's
think
it for
that's
me. And I
yeah.
wasn't able to see that in the preview because they dropped me into a part of the world that, one, most of the objectives have been explored already, and there were clear confines put in place to stop me from seeing all of the open world. Like, my Ikram would get to a certain point and there'd be turn around.
Yeah.
But it was a large space. But even looking at the map, it's like, oh wow, okay, this is a quite a sizable open world with a
Yeah.
lot of verticality and a lot of density. And I kind of want to see that, but I didn't get to see that, so it's hard to gauge everything about the game as of now.
Yeah. And so we saw you do a couple different so we saw some like mainline quest stuff and then we saw you assault this compound and we saw you free that animal. Did you get an idea of any of the other kind of like map marker checklist kind of stuff that's going to be around the world?
Not really, which
Yeah.
is unusual. I stumbled across a few of the outposts, and instead of like Navi living there, like you would if you took over a base in Far Cry, they seem to be reclaimed by nature and then become spots where you can get resources and stuff like that. And it seems I didn't see any other activities, but I wouldn't be surprised if like you have Ikran races or you're trying to gather certain resources. But it also feels like this is going for more character driven side quests,
Yeah.
even if they're quite minimal and uninteresting, I guess. Because one had me talk to an old woman, and she's like, "Oh, there's a noise, and it's keeping the kids up." And I ended up going to a part on the map where I think a helicopter had been downed, and like a distress signal was calling out to the humans who needed rescuing, and they were
Mm.
long dead. But after switching that off, I could go back and say, "Oh, hey, I did it," and then they were like, "Thank you. Here's some stuff you can craft." But aside from that, I didn't see too many of the cookie cutter like map stuff you do in a game like this, which makes me curious, if anything, because it's going to be more than Outpost, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious about that too. I included this scene just because I really liked. I thought this was a good showcase for like the kind of tone and dialogue. I thought this character
Yeah,
was kind of cool.
you help her like assault the base, and she gets injured, and her dad's not happy about it. It's like, oh, you let her go out. Oh. But I think the character animation and like the way they're presenting the narrative is quite tremendous. Like,
Hmm.
it feels like a step above what Far Cry 6 did, and I think that game's plot was especially terrible. So I think
Yeah.
if they do something good with this, like this airborne combat is also incredibly cool.
Right.
Where I had to like jump on these airborne bases and hack them like around the air to like find the source of where I needed to go. But stuff like this helps it stand out, and I really hope it leans more into this kind of stuff. Oh, do we see it explode, or does it just
You
disappear?
watch it for a while and then you gave up.
Never mind. But
But
oh, it's
yeah,
so pretty.
I thought this was really cool. Jumping on these platforms, blowing them up,
The
and then
hacking
jumping
minigame
back
is super
onto.
cool. I really enjoyed this. It took me a second to figure it out. You kind of need to squeeze the adaptive trigger, find the point, and then you like lead it through. It's very simple here because this is kind of a tutorial mission.
Okay.
And then you just blow up the thing, and then it blows up very quickly. Wait for it. Bang. That's cool. I'll never get over dropping really high from really high and just summoning my friend.
Yeah, it'll always just fly right under you, right?
Make you run.
Yeah, I love that. This was also really impressive to me. I know we were talking about how, after the year of games that we've had and the stuff that like really pushed the medium forward, this one's just kind of another Ubisoft game. But I think that there's still going to be some pretty impressive things. And here I saw that you were trying to see how high you could fly.
This shocked me because I thought it would
Yeah, it
stop me at the
shocked me too.
clouds, but it lets me go borderline into space. Like you can still just keep going and keep going.
Yeah, you were going to see in a second here, you fly all the way up through the clouds until you're above them. And then there's actually like things going on. There's other things flying up there. There's like
Yeah,
still an atmosphere to the game, even up above the clouds. And the way you like, there's weather down on the planet and you're flying above these clouds into another,
like
you
this is
know,
so pretty.
climate is just so cool.
Like it takes me a good 20 seconds to get through the clouds, which I thought was impressive. I'm like, whoa, okay, I can
Yeah,
keep
how did you even know
going.
you're going the right way?
I just kept going up. I thought it hasn't stopped me, so let's keep going. And then I
And
saw
then you break
stars, and I
through
was
to the
like,
sky. Yeah.
and then there's a couple of planets or moons in a second, and I'm like, oh
I
wow.
love that. And the fact that there's still like mountains in the distance that are above the clouds too.
And I
Um,
keep going, and then it eventually stops me. It's
yeah.
like, no, we can't go to space.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool. And then of course you're gonna dive all the way back down.
This takes me a long time as well. Like this was impressive. That
Yeah,
cloud cover. Well, I'd love to go up there in different weather conditions as well.
yeah,
But I think, as you said, like this just being a fascinating world to explore. If this game offers that, I don't think I'll have too much of a complaint.
right. Yeah, that's all I need is like some characters that I care about a little bit and a world that I want to explore, and I already do. Um,
Oh, it's just in the clouds for a good solid 20
yeah,
seconds.
and the way it sort of like comes into focus as you break through that atmosphere. I love
Like,
that.
I do agree, like the tech here is like a step above what Far Cry's been doing for like
Yeah,
several years, which isn't hard, I guess. Those games are stuck in 2013, but sorry, Ubisoft. But this does look cool. I will play this, and I think that's a testament to how cool it could be. Do I start
yeah.
blasting? I don't think I start blasting.
Cool. I'm still excited about it. I mean my expectations are tempered largely because they have been so quiet on the marketing, but also like now that I've seen this, it kind of is exactly what you'd think it would be.
Mm.
Um but that said, like I still need to see what the the sort of like checklist map content is like, if there's much depth to that, or if it
Yeah,
is very Far Cry and you're just sort of bouncing from like objective to objective, clearing out uh, Marines or whatever. Um,
there you
yeah,
go,
I,
Fluff.
I think I think it looks neat. That's all I can say. I'm a huge Avatar fan, so I don't know how this is going to be received. I know people just want to hate Avatar, so that's what worries me the
I
most.
see. I'm not one of those people. Like
Yeah,
I went to see Avatar 2. I liked it. I liked the first one. I saw it in school. They took us for like a history trip
the
because
history of the
they were like, "Oh,
Navi of the
cowboys and Indians.
Mordecai
Let's watch
people.
Avatar."
Oh my god!
Bro, sick. But
And of course, here's
yeah,
a home tree.
took me a while to get. This is cool. There was quite a density to this hub, so I hope there's a lot of stuff to do in there. Because a lot of the gear system and stuff, it's got like a Destiny style gear system with like rarities and colors, and they were very much like, "Oh, this is a bit bugged right now, but it's not going to be in the main game." And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah, that's definitely one thing I'm less excited about is all the gear stuff. We couldn't show any of the menus. They didn't want us to show menus in this one,
oh,
but
because I would have loved to show you the map. The map screen is so impressive.
how do you feel about the loot? Is it
It's
very
not
like
gratuitous. I came
okay?
across like a few like free of everything during my 2 hours, and they've got like damage values and
Yeah,
some modifiers, but it's not egregious. I wouldn't think you could probably stick with the same stuff and get by because the combat isn't especially punishing. I think it's
is
just every game needs to have loot now.
right. Is there crafting too?
Yes, you can craft loot and all that stuff. You get
Yeah.
blueprints and you can gather stuff because there's a lot of gathering materials because they're leaning into that like natural part of the world. It's like, oh, Avatar.
Yeah. The Ubisoft blueprint. Well, let's hope it can transcend the Ubisoft blueprint.
I hope we will see. We will see. But that's Avatar. It's quite good. It's probably
Well,
my residing feeling.
Awesome. Thank you, Jade. Check out Jade's full preview. That's linked down in the description. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and visit us at thegamer.com. That's the gamer,
Prepare the
no
hunters.
space.
Get ready
Gaming.
for us to fly.